Hi, I'm Rachel Chamness at Sound Waves Heal, and I hope that you enjoy my replay from my Facebook group, Ascension in 5D Daily. I'd love to see you there. We are going to talk about Fae versus Elemental. What's the difference? I'm going to bring in a Selkie and ask her what the real story is. Who are Selkies? Why? What's the real story? And then I'm going to give the group a card and a sound healing. And so that'll be all wrapped up nicely for you, and you can watch it now. I did give the group all personal readings, so if you'd like to jump in on that, I'd love to see you in my group. So it's nice to see you. I am a Fae and Spirit Guide Liaison, and I'm a psychic healer and psychic mentor. So I love to help people find their light path and also just connect to their spirit guides and connect to Fae helpers and all of that. So today we'll be talking a little bit about Selkies. Hi, Gia. Hi. We'll be talking a little bit about Selkies, and also I'll be giving you readings from my deck, Elemental, Magic, and Manifestation. So hi, Joanne. Nice to see you. So hi, Crystal. Hi, Amber. Hi, Danielle. And hi, Dana. Okay, so I wanted to just start with like a little bit about Selkies. The myth of the Selkie is that the seal has a woman inside of it. So it's like the seal comes to the shore. Maybe it's the 12th night, like I just heard in one story, or maybe it's like, only once a year, or maybe it's all the time or certain times, but they can shed their skin and underneath they're this beautiful woman. And then the myth is that then the fisherman finds the woman and wants to keep her, so he takes her seal suit and hides it, and that way the woman can never go back to being a seal. So it's kind of a horrible story, right? Because that doesn't sound like consent to me. That sounds horrible. Anyway, that's a story. And then usually stories like she bears him many children, and then one day she finally gets into the locked place where he's put her seal suit. She puts it back on and goes back out and never comes back except for to come to the shore to see her children. So that's the lore of the myth of the Selkie. Anyway, so this is how it works in the myth, but this is just the myth. So what's the real story of the Selkie? So in my TAG membership every month, we meet and connect to a new group of beings. And this March, we're meeting and getting to know Selkies and connecting to them. And I'll be honest, I have not channeled many Selkies. In fact, I've really only channeled one Selkie, and that's the one on my deck. So in my deck, which I'm going to give you all readings from, Elemental, Magic, and Manifestation, there is one that's a Selkie. And really what we did is we just sort of did a representation. I have an artist, and I just told her, kind of make it sort of look like seal up to the shoulders and then like a woman, because we'll just make the representation. But besides that, in the channel that I brought forward for the book, I really haven't had a lot of time to really go deep into meeting the Selkie. So I'm really excited to channel them. I'll be channeling them for like an hour tomorrow, or 30 minutes once it's edited for TAG. And I'm going to ask them so many questions. And so what they're coming for is to teach us about the fluidity of multidimensional livings, like going up into these other realms and coming back, and how to do that in a more fluid way. And also about self-worth and why that's relevant in this time of ascension. So basically, from that, all I know about Selkies so far is just, that they help with that. So today I was asking them, who are you? Like, what's the real story of the Selkie? And this Selkie came forward. She says her name is Illiathe. And she says that, the Selkie has the heart of a woman. The seal has a heart of a woman. I'm sorry. That's what she says. I'm still hearing her, but earlier I was transing her, and she was saying the seal has the heart of a woman. So what she's showing me is that there is some truth to the myth that there's a Selkie that is, seal woman, but it's not what you think. So lots of animals are sort of a vehicle in this 3D world for these galactic helpers, and especially your pets are usually your galactic friend from another life, your helper. They're your multidimensional helpers. They really help you so much. And so the Selkie is, the myth comes from these multidimensional helpers that are the heart of the seal. So Some animals are elementals in our world, like whales and dolphins and seahorses, polar bears, things like that. And that's what we learned in TAG. Some of them are from Polaris. And the seal also can be an elemental. So, but this is where it gets complicated, she's saying, and it's not so easily described. So maybe when I channel them tomorrow, I'll get more information in that masterclass. But she's saying that the spirit of the seal is multidimensional. So this is more like our pets, where, you know, it's a cat, but it's also, like my cat, a friend of mine from the constellation Lyra, right? So it's the Lyran being in the cat. And the seal is the same way. But in this case, when we're talking about Selkies, and that's all they're telling me about right now, is it's a woman. So it's a galactic being who's a woman. I'm asking her, are you all from the same place? She says no. And are there men in seals' hearts as well? And she says yes, just not the Selkie. So that's what they're telling me right now. I'm going to channel I'm going to channel Illiathe, the one that came to me, and see what she has to say in a minute. But first, I want to go over one thing. I learned something recently, and I love it. So elementals, Fae, you may have heard some of these terms or both of them. And is there a difference? There is a difference. So I've always called all the mythical beings or mystical beings, however you want to call them, that I've met who are spirit guides, and they vibrate higher. They're just like spirit guides. If they're not your actual spirit guide, then they're a helper guide. They're helpful beings. They're of the light, all the ones that I talk to. In fact, when I ask them about the Unseelie, they tell me that there's no more Unseelie. That's from the past. I have found that there are many people who say the Fae did this, or they have some kind of like evil Fae story. And usually when I check into that as a medium, what I get is that is actually not Fae, but it is a shape-shifting being. Like I've seen shape-shifting ghouls, they said, that were pretending to be Fae, and I've seen other kinds that are pretending to be Fae. So the Fae that are left, and that are earthly Fae especially, they are from the light. Now, does that mean there's no Fae from the dark? Well, I mean, there's light and there's dark of everything. So probably there is some, not positive, some negative Fae. There probably are out there, but I don't think that there's many of them on the earth. And I'm definitely not a kind of person who says there's nothing dark. I mean, there's dark of everything. I clear dark things from people all the time. So I definitely believe that and have seen many dark things, but I have never seen many dark Fae. I've seen things pretending to be Fae, but not dark Fae. And I mean, I clear people of all kinds of things all the time for years. So pretty sure that I'm right. But I mean, I'm open to be wrong because nobody knows everything for sure. And we all have our own reality. So what may be true for me may not be true for you. Okay, so Fae versus elemental. This is what I call them, the elementals. Well, when I made my deck, then I realized how many people don't know the name elemental. So I thought I would use the word Fae to help. A Fae oracle deck, Fae elementals, like just to try to help people figure it out. And what I learned is not all of them are Fae. Some of them are elementals, but they're not of the Fae world. So like, for instance, dragons. Whenever I see dragons, I never see them in the Fae world. I always see like Fae lands or whatever. I always see them coming from like other planets or coming from the galaxy. But they're still consider themselves elementals, but they do not consider themselves Fae. So someone said this to me and I was like, really? And then I thought about it. They never told me they were Fae. They told me they were elementals. So then I looked into it. So now my goal is, because I don't know if you guys know, I'm writing a book about elementals. My goal is to figure out who's Fae and who's not. And we are going to figure this out, being by being. But what Fae means, they're from the Fae lands. They live in this like fairy kind of place. So Fae is just the word of like, it's like fairies or like elves. Elves are definitely Fae. Unicorns are Fae. So it's just like a word for these beings, if that helps, Mindy. But so are Selkies Fae? So Selkies are not Fae, they just told me. So I didn't know that till this moment. This is why I love doing this, because then I learned so much, They say they are elementals. So I'm going to trans-channel Illiathe and see what she has to say. Okay? and then we'll do the readings. So what's the real story, Illiathe? We want to know. And I'm sure she'll tell us more tomorrow if you're in my TAG Lightworker membership. Sorry, I'm already starting to channel. It makes it hard to talk. Then we'll get a lot more answers in the masterclass that'll be posted this weekend. So, but for everybody, let's find out. Let's see what Illiathe has to say. We are in the heart, and we are the guide of the seal. You may not realize how beautiful and elemental the seal is. Many of you may have never even seen one, and they are here watching over the earth, like many elementals that are placed on earth as animals. And so the seal is an elemental, and it is also an earth animal. But the spirit, this heart of the seal is us. And we are beings who share the space with the seal. We are not third dimensional. We are what you would describe as spirit. We are higher dimensional. We are fifth or sixth or seventh dimensional. Some may even be eighth, for we are not all from the same place. And so, yes, we very much understand how to work with the multidimensional fluidity of moving between the dimensions. And as you are made of flesh, of third dimensional flesh, you must move through dimensions in your meditation and in your work. If you do any kind of psychic healing or messages, you will be moving up and down. You may feel symptoms such as dizziness or feeling very elevated, and then coming down, having to ground again, and feeling grounded back into your third dimensional reality. All the time, you still have a third dimensional body. For us, we are more like spirit. The only way for us to have a third dimensional body is when we enter the seal. And so, no, there is no truth to the seal coming on land, shedding its skin, and becoming a Selkie. It is just a story. However, some have seen us and recognized us as spirits who are from the seal. And so that is how it began. We are very much looking forward to helping you with these transitions to help reduce Ascension symptoms and give you more fluidity in the movement between your dimensions, which happens in meditation and happens in sleep as well. So even if you think you aren't doing it, I believe that you may be. For if you are seeking the higher self, seeking the improvement of self, seeking ascension, or even not even knowing what ascension is, you are seeking it. And so you will be using these different dimensions in different ways that you may not realize, but you will realize it eventually. And yes, we are elementals, but we do not mind being called Fae. In fact, if you would like to call us Fae, it is okay, because we do go to the Fae lands. We do not originate from there, and we do not stay there, but we may visit. And so you may call us whatever you wish. Just call on us so that we may help you. Okay. What did you think about that? It's me again. Oh, okay, let's see. We got questions. Thank you, Amber. Let's see, what does this say? Okay, right. We talked about that a little bit. What are brownies? Okay, we'll talk about brownies in a second. How would you define elementals? I would just define elementals as these beings that we consider like mystical beings, like unicorns, dragons, mermaids, elves, fairies, all kinds of fairy-like beings, even giants. Giants and like Sasquatch is considered, and Balboans, which is like Sasquatch. That's like, those are all giants. Those are considered Fae. these are all just helpers, and they have these sort of, we've heard of them in legends basically, but they're there. They're just they're not 3D. So you may only see them in like orbs or sparks, things like that. You may see them in your third eye. Like sometimes I see them, I see a spark, and then I'll feel that that's like a fairy because I can feel it, and then they might show me in my head like maybe like an eye, or like the back of their head, like their hair, or maybe they'll show me like their wings, or maybe they'll show me the whole thing. And then sometimes in the 3D I've actually seen the fairies, so I've actually seen them when the veil is thin. Maybe you've captured their orbs or even their pictures. In pictures, you guys have all seen the pictures in the groups where you can see, because I'm live on 2 groups, that you can see the Fae there and in the picture, and I've seen their outlines in light too sometimes. Yeah. Thank you. It is a little mind-blowing, and sometimes it doesn't really make any sense. Yes, I am. I know I haven't heard of anyone else channeling the Balboans besides me. Yes, everything's going in my book, every single thing I can think of. And some beings are new to me in the book. Like I haven't really worked with the salamanders yet, the fire salamanders. Yeah, I thought it was cool. Okay. So there are some animals who are elementals, and then there's some animals who are just animals. Now there's animal spirits and there's animal totems. That's totally different. But so they're not, those wouldn't be elementals, but sometimes they're kind of riding the line of both. So wolves would be like dogs, which, are an animal. There's a wolf spirit and there's a wolf totem. And there's also, like, if you had a dog or even a wolf, it might have a galactical, higher dimensional being soul in the body that was helping you. But dolphins are elementals, yes, and they are physical. Yeah, Balboans are who I channeled, and they first told me they were Sasquatch, but they didn't like to be called Sasquatch. But very recently I learned that they're not exactly Sasquatch. It's okay to call Sasquatch. Balboans are they're very similar. What they told me is we are not Sasquatch, because they didn't like the word. I thought, because they also said they weren't Bigfoot. They didn't want to be called that. In fact, they don't let me even say it. And they told me in the same way, they were like, we're not Sasquatch. And they were like, kind of like, don't call us that. We're Balboans. And then I realized they're different. So they're not quite as tall. And there's also trolls. Trolls are giants. And I met a new one called a gwoof. He's in this deck, in my deck. And actually, I have a retreat this summer. Not this summer, next month, in April 17th and 21st. And we're going to be attuning to the gwoof. They are in charge of the Fae music. So yeah, there you go. A little bit about Fae. I'm glad you liked it. And then there was a question about brownies. So brownies are, to me, they look like Ewoks. They're like little, but they're smaller. Like on Star Wars. Star Wars is very channeled, guys. In fact, there's so much. I can't even get into that. We'll never get to the readings. But they look like little tiny Wookiees, and they work with the leaves, like the underbrush, kind of like cleaning it up in the forest. That's what they told me. Oh, really? Yeah, it's very channeled. A lot of it's not true, the storyline, but the beings are very channeled. Hi, Jean. Yes, I have. So in fact, we were watching The Mandalorian the other day, the new season, and they had those beings that look like galactic whales, and they float through space. And I was like, oh my gosh, when I talked to the whales, they said they had a ship that was a galactical ship, and it looks just like a whale. It has whale skin. And I was like, that's what they mean. That's what they're talking about. That's channeled. So they have these huge whale-like things, and they're called something about, they're called something. Oh shoot, I should ask my husband. I didn't think we were talking about this, but it's something like they're natural, they're natural ships, or they naturally go through the ships. And yeah, pretty cool. That's exactly what the whales told me. And I was like, there it is. That's so cool. That's in TAG too. You guys want to know about TAG? If you're not in TAG, you can PM me about it, and I can tell you that. Yes, I have seen very big, not giants, but I've seen fairies the same height as me. I'm 5'6", and they're Palladian fairies. The Palladian fairies are big. Andromedan fairies are small and more blue, like pixies, but not quite. Maybe a little more purple. There's so many kinds of fairies. I know a lot of different kinds. In my fairy attunement, there is a lot going on with how many different kinds of fairies there are. Okay, well, you guys want a reading? Let's start here. Put I want a reading, or yes, or whatever, if you want a reading, and I'll give you a reading for my new deck, Elemental Magic and Manifestation, which you can buy on my site if you want. And in this deck, I also have a booklet. It talks about, there's 37 different kinds of Fae in here, and I have a little description. It's a very small booklet. I'm not going to kill you with it. And it has a description and a channel from each one, so that you can, so you can give yourself a reading with a book, or you can use them for other people. They're made for beginners. In the booklet, I talk a lot about how to use them and stuff. And then they're also made for advanced. Oh, hey, Reed. Okay, cool. Well, let's start. No, you're not too late, Lolita. You want a reading? You're welcome. I'm going to pick a group card now. And a group healing. Okay, so I am so not surprised. This is the card for everyone. Grounding. Sordal, the wood nymph. Because that is what I keep getting for everyone. Like, this is so important to ground. So regular grounding might not be enough. How do you do your grounding? Yeah, it's a group card. How do you do your grounding? Is it where you think about roots of light coming from the bottoms of your feet, going deep into the earth and plugging into the 5th dimensional grid of Gaia? Because that's how I have always done it. Now they're saying maybe there's more. Maybe there's more to it. How are you going to think of it? Maybe you're going to think of like sticking your feet so deep in the earth that you have like warm earth coming up all the way to your ankles. Or maybe there's some other way that you're going to think about this grounding. For me, I've been thinking about light, like almost like light petals coming up from Gaia's 5th dimensional earth grid, wrapping around me like a lotus, and it comes part of my auric field. And then I go down deep into the earth. So yeah, really think about a new way to ground, as we're really like it being, bounced around on these new ascension energies. We really need to find a new way to ground. All right, so here is a healing. I'm going to give you guys a really good grounding. How about that? I'm going to bring Sordal in instead of a Selkie. So she's a wood nymph for the healing. Well, you guys, thanks so much. If you're interested in learning more about the Selkies this month, or connecting to any of the over 50 light beings that are in TAG Lightworkers membership, you can reach out and message me. I'm happy to talk to you. There's no contract or anything. It's just month by month, $55 a month, and it's a huge library. It's a community. There's lots of lives every week, and it's beautiful, lots of fun. It's really my very favorite thing. So thank you all so much. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm going to come back on Tuesday night. So I guess I'll see you guys on Tuesday night. I'll put up a new event soon. Thank you. You're so welcome. Okay. And I'm so excited to have you in my groups, either Ascension and 5D Daily, or I Love Fairies, Fae and Elementals on Facebook. So thank you all so much for being in my groups. I really appreciate it. Okay. Bye. Don't forget to join my Facebook group, Ascension and 5D Daily, for lives with personal readings and classes like this all the time. See you there.